And so, hi guys. This is my second time trying to record this video. I really hope it's gonna go through. So let me check now before I continue and then regret. Hi, African Queen Mo family. How have you been doing, guys? I've been missing you so much. How has everything been going? I'm so sorry that I haven't been available to talk to you for a long time. I've been going through my own manenos. But before I continue, let me first of all introduce myself. My name is African Queen Mo. So I'm back in my home country of Kenya, where I've been since actually almost about 7 months now, from January. It's an interesting thing how I ended up coming home, and it's based on something that I believe was spiritual. You've been hearing a lot about people wanting to relocate back to their countries, their home countries, and I'm no exception. I've always wanted to, and I did actually. I lived in the US for a long time before I actually reconnected back to Kenya back in the 90s when my son was very young, and then I re entered the Western Hemisphere when I got married. After I got married, I started to work in a country called the UK and many other countries basically. But I went relocated, like where to live in Wales, about 2017, 2018 there. Yeah. So until now, which is 2024, I've been there, yeah, with my hubby. So what happened is that last year, this is 2023, I had a strong feeling that I needed to return to Kenya to look after my parents because they're elderly. My father was going to be 86 last year, and in fact, I believe he was going to be 87 this year in October. And my mom is about 84 or 83, 84. So for myself, you can imagine, late 50s, worrying about my parents living abroad, scared to get that call. And I got this feeling like, you know what? You need to go back home and and check on your parents. At the same time, my son, who is living in the US, was coming home, and he was going to come home with a friend who was going to meet. Let me not describe her. So yeah, I didn't want to miss the opportunity to meet her in January. And because December tickets are so expensive, we decided, okay, so let's go for it. Let's go for January. So end of January, I arrived in Kenya. And ever since, within 6 days of my arrival, my dad fell ill. I think I've said this in a different video before, and I'm sorry if I'm repeating it for some of you. My dad fell ill within the first week of my arrival, and I'm the one who actually drove him with my sister in the back seat, attending to my mom, who is also a dementia patient, by the way. Or should I say a dementia sufferer? My dad was leaning on me because he was having a failing heart. He wasn't well. And we didn't know that it was so bad. But within 6 days of my arrival, I was the one who took my father to hospital. Honestly, I can't believe it. You remember the videos that I did? I don't know if you did, but I'll try to see if I can share them here. Showing you the kind of, colonoscopy that he did, which was non-invasive. He just swallowed a camera. I showed you all of that. And then, for some reason, I couldn't return. Something was telling me to stick on, stay on. I came and I lived with my parents for a while. And sorry if this is too much information, but just for those of you who are kind of part of the sandwich generation like I am, who feel this kind of guilt, especially when you're living abroad and you're feeling like, oh my God, I need to look after my parents. How are they? Who's looking after them? We're only three in the family, three kids in this family. And so, hey, I being the eldest, I had to be here. Fortunately, I have a very understanding husband who was also encouraging me to come and care for my parents because he has lost both parents. And he kept telling me, don't miss any opportunity. If you feel you must go, just pack up and go. And I really like that he encouraged me. And thank you so much, babes. Thank you so much for encouraging me because he kept on saying, you don't want to regret. Life is so fragile. You don't want to regret and say, I wish I did, I wish I did. In this case, I did not. Anyway, let me not bore you with the details. What I want to tell you is that I stayed on. And I stayed on and I stayed on and I stayed on. And I kept giving all kinds of excuses why I wanted to stay. Even my father was asking me, so what's happening? What about your hubby? What about your family? What's happening? Why are you here? And I said, I would answer him and tell him, what would you do if you have a parent who's not well? What would you do? Would you go back? So he would just be quiet. So, guys, I'm back. It looks to me like when you take a break from recording, guess what? You lose your skills. If you lose it, you don't use it, you lose it. That's how it goes. What was I saying, guys? Hey, do you know? There was a time that I traveled to India and I traveled to Chandigarh. Okay, Chandigarh is part of India. Basically, it's part of the country. In Chandigarh is in Punjab. Yeah, Chandigarh is in Punjab. Okay, Punjab city in India, and I traveled there, and I met with this wonderful Indian, very well known scholar. Okay, on things to do with the environment, and especially on things to do with climate change. And he's also a journalist. He had relocated actually from Canada to look after his father. So I met him at his father's house. Then his father was ailing and aged, and he left his family in Canada, this Asian man, and he relocated to look after his own parent because he said that is a culture, that is what you do. And so I remember that he really had an influence in my life. And that gentleman was very, very useful for me in a very strange way because I had to travel all the way to India to understand what it means for family bonds to be to be respected and also for parents to be respected. So my father didn't quite understand. He thought, well, you now have a life with your family. In fact, there was one time my mom said, you know what, if you're not with your, because I told you my mom has dementia, right? So my mom says, well, since you're not with your husband, that means he's just your friend. He's not really your husband. After all, you can't say you're married because if I wasn't with my husband right now, then that would mean I'm not married. I just said to myself, oh my God, please give me strength to deal with this. Can you imagine? You come home and you think that you're actually doing your parents a favor by being here, and you think that they'll be very proud of you, but instead they're fighting you. They're like, what are you doing here? Go back. You have your family. But I really thank God for my husband, I said again, and myself, because that's the reason why it's important to get married to somebody who is of like mind. That's the most important thing, that you share the same values. Because one thing I did not want is regret. I remember attending a lot of funerals, especially within our family, where family members, I would ask them, so how do you feel, that your dad passed away or your mom passed away? How are you doing? Are you okay? And then they tell me, some of them say, well, most of them were saying, I have a lot of regrets. There are things we should have discussed. There are things we should have done. I think I could have been a better daughter. I could have done things better this way. I said, all of us live with some sort of level of regret because even if I look back, 24/7 hindsight, I would say, oh, maybe I should have noticed that dad was not well because we spent time with him from like Friday night, Saturday, the whole day, the whole evening, and Sunday morning he goes. Why is it that none of us, and why is it that, for example, he said, I'd ask him, Dad, can I please take you to the hospital? I feel his hands, they were cold. And I was like, Dad, no, 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 I have to take you to the hospital. But because of his extreme, should I say, dedication and love for my mom, putting himself second all the time, second and last, literally, he was the patriarch of the family. So these are some of, he would just be like, no, 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 I'm okay, I'm okay. And this is nothing to do with cost because, like I told you, he had insurance, but by the time he died, I asked him, finally, the last conversation I had with dad, I asked him, but dad, I sat on his armchair, I sat on the arm of his chair and I said, whispered in his ear and I said, Dad, you look like you're struggling. I don't think you're doing okay. I don't know. Can I please take you to the hospital? And I said, Dad. And then the last thing he told me, he said, something is very, very wrong. And when he said something is very, very wrong, that is now the regret I feel because I felt like, why didn't I pick up that is a thing I should have taken him straight away to the hospital? But it's because as he's telling me this, he's sitting hand in hand with my mom on the chair who has dementia. And they are in a place which is unfamiliar. And I could feel that he did not want to be far from her. So I thought to myself, what if I move him from here and then maybe he dies in the car? Something happens, he goes into a coma. So I thought to myself, well, anyway, he has gone to the hospital. We took him to the hospital on Friday. My sister took him. So then he should be okay, at least with his medications. Let me take him in the morning. Let me not take him at night, just in case something happens. You see, those are the kinds of regrets that I have. But I don't have any regret in terms of being here and available for him. In fact, I really thank God that I listened to my sixth sense. So, all I can say to you people, those of you who are able to, those of you who are living abroad and are able to come home, or you are feeling a sixth sense about your parent, I tell you what, I really felt peace. As far as I know I cried a lot. I know it was so painful. If I show you the pictures, the videos, oh, I wouldn't want to show them on social media really, because I took the last selfie with my dad when he was gone. I did in the ambulance. I took the last selfies with him. I took video, with his cold self. He was cooling off. He still was warm. I was taking videos with him, and I think for that alone, for that experience alone, I'm so glad that I came back home. So that happened 6 months after my landing in January. So the one thing I really feared was receiving a call. For some reason, I felt I needed to come back home. And I felt the spirit of my grandmother disturbing me a lot. His mother, they were very close. And she was very close with me when I was growing up. And I remember feeling her spirit very closely with me, as if she was nudging me to go home. We are spiritual beings, guys. Yeah. I don't know why this discussion is going this direction, but we are spiritual people. And those of us who are experiencing mental health problems and breakdowns, it's because we've decided to ignore our spiritual selves. If you listen to your inner voice, it tells you what to do. You don't necessarily have to go to social media platforms or anything to find out what you should do next, or even go to your religious books to know what you should do next. No. Us. Yeah, we have the Creator's voice inside of us telling us what to do. Completely overlooked something that was only brought to my attention once I lost dad, which is how do we deal with people's mental and emotional spiritual health? I would like you, my viewers and friends, to help me to navigate this by asking me questions. Please ask me questions, yeah? You see, I learned a lot, and that's why I'm talking a lot. So talk, 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 talk. Let's talk, guys. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk about the things that are difficult to talk about, and so that we have space to discuss those things that matter in the society to more people and in a more constructive manner, knowing that we have healed. This is a talking therapy for myself right now as I speak to you. So thank you so much for listening in. Please share your experiences with me. Don't be shy. Just share them. Tell me what you feel. Thank you very much in advance. All those people, all my Facebook family who sent me condolences, thank you so much because I managed to put a post on there. My YouTube family, you probably have not been aware, some of you, that I lost dad. And I thank God for all those years that He gave me with my father. So, love you guys. Thank you so much for your time. I won't make this very long. I hope to be recording more often and show you this beautiful environment. So, bye, guys. Love you very much. Take care. Thank you so much for your time. And please keep it here, an African Queen Mo Cardiff. Please let's increase the subscribers. I'm on TikTok as well now as African Queen Mo. Please go on there. I've got quite a few followers, and I'm quite surprised. So come on, let's go on. Love you very much. Take care. Bye. Bye.